Once upon a time, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little fairies sleeping sound asleep. Queen Clarendon went into her studio and she put her hands in her paint and she painted so straight. And she put her feet in her paint buckets and she painted so curvy. Hold on, sleeping fairy, stay sleeping. And then she would paint all day and at night she would stretch her arms and stomp up her stairs and fall fast asleep. Just then, her 9 fairies woke up and stretched their arms and clapped their fairy wings and they said, let's go paint. Good, and they tiptoed into Queen Clarendon's castle and they put their little fairy hands in a paint bucket. Indeed. Good, and they painted so straight, up and down her walls, all over, up and down her walls. They painted so straight. And they looked at their paint and they said, nice work. Good, nice work. Then they took their feet and they painted so curvy all over the floor. Good, and they painted curvy all over the ceiling too. Good, so curvy. Very nice. And they looked up and they said, nice work. And then they said, let's do one more. So they put their fairy bottoms in the paint buckets and they painted on the floor. Zig, zag, zig, zag, zig, zag, all over the floor. And they stood up and they looked out and they said, nice work. And they saw the sun was just about to come up. So they said, quick, back to our fairy treehouse. And they tiptoed back to their treehouse. Just then, Queen Clarendon woke up and she stomped down the stairs to her castle and she opened the door and she saw that her castle had been painted all over. And she looked around and she didn't see anybody. She had no idea who did it. Just then, Amis, she heard a little giggle coming from the treehouse. And she opened the treehouse door and she saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little fairies. And she said, did you paint in my studio? Yeah. And they said, yes. And she said, will you help me clean it up? Yeah. Yes. So the little fairies tiptoed up and they poured magic eraser paint in the paint buckets. Good, and they dipped their feet in the paint buckets and they painted so straight with their feet all over the floor to get the magic paint, the eraser paint off. And they looked down and they said, all gone. Good, and they put their hands in the magic eraser paint and they painted so curvy all over the ceiling. They used their magic eraser paint all over the ceiling, so curvy. Very good, and they looked up and they said, all gone. And they said, wait, there's one more. And they showed Queen Clarendon how they put their bottoms in the paint buckets. And they painted zig, zag all over the floor. And they stood up and they looked down and they said, all gone. And at this point they were so tired. They had been up all night. So they stretched their arms and they tiptoed back to their treehouse fairy beds. And they fell fast asleep. And the queen said, good night, fairies. And the fairies said, good night, queen. And they fell fast